Hey, welcome back, folks. Funny thing happened in South Africa's parliament this week. Yeah. The opposition party, MK and EFF, Mkhonto we Sizwe, and the Economic Freedom Fighters were curious about the progress of expropriation without compensation, wanting to steal the land from lawful property owners in South Africa. Of course, this is an abrogation of property rights, which made South Africa ineligible for the African Growth and Opportunity Act while it was still around. Now, for ages, we've heard the nonsense coming out of South African media, News 24, the IOL, the Daily Maverick, Newsroom Africa, SABC, the Washington Post, and a host of other media outlets, and now joined by CNN, claiming that President Trump is running around using the term white genocide and that this is something that's being talked about by people on the political right. Well, that's not true. You know what else is not true? The South African government denying that expropriation without compensation is happening. Now, immediately after Ramaphosa signed the Expropriation Without Compensation Act into law, unconstitutional, mind you, in violation, clear violation of Section 25 of the Constitution, when he signed that, shortly after that, in Polokwane, in Seshego, residents went and occupied land and demanded services. They parceled out land that belonged to someone else and stole the land. And when asked by an SABC journalist why they were doing it, well, the president authorized us to do it. Now, of course, they have no such authorization, but the government said nothing about it. That interview on SABC disappeared shortly afterwards. I haven't heard from that journalist in a while. I wonder why. Meanwhile, the government of South Africa denies that expropriation ever takes place. But the threat of expropriation is the danger here. Whether it's done or not by the government or not, it doesn't matter. Look what happened in Seshego. Look what happened in the Eastern Cape when police were caught doling out land that they stole in the aftermath of that legislation. What happened in Northwest Province with land being stolen? We know expropriation without compensation is the law of the land in violation of the Constitution. We also know that many people have taken the law into their own hands and government has done nothing about it. Look at the Tygerberg Raceway during COVID. That land was stolen. Now, it was city land leased to a racetrack, but the land was stolen. And the racetrack and a business that supported local community completely destroyed and gone. Not to mention the 60 to 100 million rand that the owner lost. So expropriation and the threat of expropriation is very real. But the people that have told you this have been called liars and racist and anti-transformationalist and all kinds of other nonsense by South Africa's politicians and its captured media. So a funny thing happened on the way to the forum. Specifically, Deputy President Paul Mashatile answered the question from the EFF and the one from the MK in Parliament. Perhaps we should listen in to see what the state of play is regarding the government's plans and actions for expropriation without compensation. Remember, the South African government says that they're not expropriating property. They haven't done it. There's no expropriation without compensation. It hasn't occurred. And I don't have a case of it actually occurring other than vigilantes stealing land and the government not stopping them, which I've just covered in Seshego, in the Eastern Cape and in Northwest, and the Tygerberg Raceway. Also the case of the Ackerland Broderie, where the people were beaten about the shoulders, and the land was actually expropriated without compensation, but that was overturned later. And they had no choice but to sell the property off. And apparently it belongs to some Saudi prince now, not even the claimants of the land. So let's listen into what Deputy President Paul Mashatile admitted in Parliament this week.
I did say earlier that the ANC is pro-expropriation of land without compensation.
There's the truth.
We've never deviated from that.
True.
But I said when we came to Parliament, it was clear that engaging with other parties, we're not able to go that route and therefore introduce another approach, which, of course, Honorable Mlefe was saying earlier that it's a sellout position. But it's working because we are saying that there would be instances where land can be expropriated with nil compensation.
So did you catch that? The Deputy President of the Republic has confirmed that the ANC wants to steal land, use the law, like apartheid National Party used the law to steal land from lawful landowners and displace them without compensation. That's their desire. That's their goal. He said it right there. So who's lying? The people been telling you that the ANC is all about this, or the ANC? Now Paul Mashatile admits it. It's on the record. There's the video from Parliament. Additionally, in response to the radical leftists in the MK and EFF party who are unhappy that land isn't being stolen from lawful landowners in South Africa. He said, our approach is working. It's working. They are taking land without compensation, essentially is what he's saying. Or if they haven't, it's just a matter of time. Land can be and will be taken without compensation. Nil means zero. Apparently that's the word lost on the not first language speaking members of the ANC for English. Well, there you have it, folks. Paul Mashatile admits that expropriation without compensation is the law of the land, and the ANC is moving forward with the program. But they call Trump a liar. They say the government isn't expropriating land. But Paul Mashatile just told you they are. They are doing it. So who are we supposed to believe? This is like listening to Dr. Fauci during lockdown, telling you that one thing didn't work, then telling you if you didn't wear it. It's unbelievable. This is like Animal Farm. It's like George Orwell. They lie to you and call you the liar. And when you point out their words, their deeds, their laws, their acts, they call you a racist or anti-transformation. No, we're just pro-truth. And thank you, Deputy President Paul Mashatile, for admitting the truth, that you are expropriating property without compensation. What say you, South Africa? Mzansi. Cheers.